What's up, everybody? It's Soren Baker.
Amir, Rahimi.
And this week on The Great Debaters, getting naughty, y'all. Naughty by nature. Alright, Amir, so this week on The Great Debaters, we're getting into some naughty by nature. But first, as always, everybody, please hit that subscribe button. If you're already subscribed, please tell a friend to subscribe to Unique Access Entertainment so we can keep growing and keep getting you guys more and more videos. Hit us on that Cash App, Unique Access ENT, if you haven't already. But please subscribe, tell a friend, each one teach one, talk about it, be about it. We appreciate it. Like our content, share it. Now today on The Great Debaters, Amir and I are talking about our top 3 picks on Naughty by Nature's debut album, an eponymous album. And it's a interesting journey through the mind mainly of Tretch and KG, with Uncle Vin thrown in there too. So Amir, what are your initial thoughts when you think of this album and getting introduced to it early on?
This is just a really good album. I was first put on to this probably by like O.P.P and Hip Hop Hooray and those ones, and then that's how I heard about Naughty by Nature. And also I remember seeing the logo and just loving the logo. It's just brilliant. I love the baseball bat. I love the text, etc. But anyways, to start off with this album and what I thought of my top picks, honestly, track 1 has to be one of my picks, and that would be Yoke the Joker. I had actually first heard this when I bought the album, so I hadn't heard it before. When I popped this one in, I got the CD and I popped it in my iTunes, and I was like, oh wow, this is how he's starting the album. This is like a high bar. Like, this is a high bar to start your album with. And Tretch's style is unlike, honestly, like any style I've heard. I think some people, whether knowingly or unknowingly, have tried a style similar to this, and Tretch is pretty much the best at doing it. He is just incredible. His flow is just, like I said, it's really second to none. And I'm probably gonna pick Soren's brain after this video, and like, who else was rapping like this in the early 90s? I know some people were going a little faster or things, but the way he's actually flowing, not only the speed, but just the way he's putting words together, with the opening lines in this song, in the first verse, how he's doing with all the S's, like, the things that he's putting together is really remarkable. And Yoke the Joker, it's him flexing his muscles on this. He's showing people, like, okay, well, you rap nice, this is how I rap. And he's repping Ill Town. This song also, a lot of people will probably put onto it with Eminem rapping it, as we see Eminem with Ice-T talking about the art of rap, etc. And big shout out to both those artists, two of my favorite artists, Eminem and Ice-T. And Eminem throughout his career has been giving props to Tretch, giving props to many rap artists as well as Ice-T. And I remember actually seeing I don't remember how recent, but Tretch saying that he would put out an album if Eminem was like exec producing it, or if Eminem had his hands in it or something like that. I remember seeing that not too long ago. So if that is true and Eminem did take that task, I would love to hear some Tretch solo album. That would be crazy. But with that being said, Yoke the Joker, I was blown away when I first heard this song, and what a way to start off an album.
That's also one of my picks, Yoke the Joker, for all the reasons Amir said. And also, I like the fact that the production that we get from KG, who produced the majority of the album, it's a little harder, is I guess the best way to describe it. Just a little more driving, because so much of the rest of it is so polished, per se. This Yoke the Joker is also production polished as well, but it has a little bit more of an edge, I think, to it sonically, which I think works extremely well with the lyrical acrobatics that Tretch has throughout the song. And I just think it's a remarkable thing. And as we look back to the 1991 era with this album, and in general, when you think of the albums that were coming out in 1991 and a little bit earlier, you just have to realize that this was rapping at the peak of rapping, but doing it for the sake of rapping. Like, they're not, as we see on other songs on Naughty by Nature, they're rapping maybe to make singles or whatever, but the majority of this album and Yoke the Joker in particular are made as showcases for Treach's lyrical acumen, for his genius as a rapper. And that's something that now in 2021 we get a little bit sidetracked of, oh, what are the streams, who produced the song, who's on the chorus, what are they talking about, this, and this. But Yoke the Joker is clearly just a display of true utter lyricism, which, you know, as rap evolved and getting into 1991, that still meant a lot. It wasn't only about chasing the charts or chasing hits and all these different things. Ironically, Naughty by Nature helped make it that because they were so successful, but Yoke the Joker showed that Treach was ferocious on the mic, and I think it's a masterful song, one of my picks. So what's your number 2, Amir?
Number 2 is one of the songs that really put me on to Naughty by Nature, and that would be O.P.P. Extremely catchy, excellent beat, love the production. We actually did talk about our favorite Naughty by Nature singles, Soren and I, in another Great Debaters video, and I did cover it in there too. But man, I love this song. This is one of those songs that I will just randomly play. Just, you know, if I scroll by Naughty by Nature's name in my iPhone, I'm looking for music to select, and I'm like, I want to hear Naughty by Nature. 9 times out of 10, I'll go to this song. I just love it. A lot of nostalgia for me with this one. And it's a very deceptive song in the sense that the instrumental being like so happy, so cheery, but then the contents of the song being very, you know, very like
Risque?
Risque, like creeping around your significant other, messing with other people's property. You know, the first verse, it's other people for women, you know, basically Treach getting with the ladies, and then the second verse is more like, okay, other people, you know, in the men's private. So, you know, talking about how these people are like sneaking around, blah, blah, blah. There's no room for relationships, just room to hit it, which is one of the more iconic lines of the song. He even talks about where people go against the O.P.P protocol and catch feelings, and then Treach in the last verse is caught in a sticky situation because he's like, well, my girl's basically on her way here, you need to get out. And she's like, well, Treach, I love you. He's like, no, child, please, you know, you got to get your stuff and you got to go. So he's basically like breaking down what O.P.P means, the situations that go on with O.P.P, and it's just like it's just funny how, and this is what I love, like Treach, I've never heard that term before, and I don't even know if it was a commonly used term or if Naughty by Nature just made it and was like, this is catchy. Like, I don't really know that. I can probably do some digging on that, but everyone knows it because of Naughty by Nature at the end of the day anyways. So it's just really cool how he's explaining this term, explaining these situations, real life situations too, because people are creeping, you know, in relationships, etc. But it is very interesting to hear like his perspective, his stories, and other people's, and then making a very catchy song that, like I said, the beat, it wouldn't make you think it's a song about what they're talking about. So O.P.P, I think, is just incredible. I think Treach does an excellent job. KG, Soren already said, does a great job producing on this album. O.P.P being an example.
That's also one of my picks because it's one of those singles, O.P.P, where the lyrics are at the highest level and they're so creative, so distinctive, and to my knowledge, I remember growing up at the time and I had never heard O.P.P anywhere.
Yeah.
So I don't know if Naughty invented that, but I imagine they did because I had never heard of it. And then on top of that, when you look at the Jackson 5 sample and this smooth catchiness, this is one of those songs that because it was somewhat coded, it was able to get this big MTV radio play because of how it sounded and how it felt. And we saw this a year later with Nothing But a G Thing, where the lyrics are totally different from the way the song makes you feel. Because what Treach is rapping about, as Amir was saying, is so scandalous per se at times, but it doesn't feel that way. It feels like a celebration. And that, to me, is one of the hallmarks of the best Naughty by Nature songs and of the best music in general, is that regardless of what the lyrics are actually saying, it makes you feel euphoric or happy. And that just shows that Tretch is able to take this delicate topic as far as cheating or not being loyal or sneaking around or however you want to categorize it yourself, and make it into just an anthem and something that people liked, and making it into a movement almost of what does it mean. And I remember at the time people were trying to decipher it, even though they heard the song. They were trying to apply it here or apply it there, or what does it mean, or what does it really mean? Is that what it means? And I just remember what he says. He explains it in the verses very clearly. You know, it does take, you know, I think on the initial listens maybe people lost it, but if you actually pay attention to what he's saying, he really spells it out. And I just think it's a masterpiece, and it's one of those examples of quote unquote commercial rap or pop rap being done at the highest level, because lyrically it's razor sharp, man. It's incredible. So that's my second pick. So Amir, what about your third?
Third pick, it's got to be another single. It's going to be Everything's Gonna Be Alright, also known as Ghetto Bastard. One of, you know, the realest songs on the album. Very awesome in terms of just the way Tretch puts it all out. He's just really nailing the concepts here, and this I really do enjoy the, you know, introduction where, you know, the doctor is talking to Nurse Johnson, and then he's, you know, basically saying like, oh, another ghetto bastard, you know, throw him in with the rest of the born losers, which it's just very sad because, you know, Tretch really dives in, and a lot of other artists throughout the years, not just in the 90s or 80s, throughout all the years of hip-hop, have been talking about, you know, these similar situations, whether they grew up without parents or a father or, you know, family, etc. And Tretch is also talking about that here. And he's, you know, talking about how a lot of things in his life aren't necessarily good, but then you have like that chorus, you know, the uplifting chorus, everything's gonna be alright, and it's a very great instrumental, great sample, and it is interesting because in his lyrics, like, he says, like, he grew up right next to West Hell, South shit, you know, basically saying, you know, he didn't grow up in a pleasant place at all. He'd be in the streets with his machete chasing Freddy, you know, like things like that, and he still was able to get like very clever, witty raps off, but also talking about how he was getting dissed for not having his hair cut and other things, and he was poor, and, you know, it's he even disses his dad in the song. He never knew him, and F him, and whatever. So I think Tretch, you hear a lot of his anger, a lot of his emotions in this song, but also with the uplifting chorus, they saying like everything's gonna be okay, etc. I think it makes for just an incredible song and a very important real song in their catalog. And with all that being said, with a subject matter like this, I think it is also just very catchy. So I love this song a lot. It's another one that when I hear O.P.P, it's like I hear O.P.P and then I go directly to this song after. That's just how I am. And I want to say Uptown Anthem is another one that I want to talk about, but just with the Juice soundtrack and everything, I don't want to include it, but man, that song is phenomenal.
Well, that was on the represses. It wasn't on the original version.
And that's also true. It is on the represses of Naughty by Nature's.
Yeah, not the original version, because that song came later.
This is true.
Ghetto Bastard is also my third pick. I just think this is a brilliant examination of that pain, confusion, frustration, and anger, not only from his disconnect with his father, but I think growing up in the environment in general. And I just think it's a powerful expose of that. And KG, again, does an amazing job making a commercialized song and soundscape for Tretch to do his brilliance. But I also think that KG shows a driving edge, this sonic crispness to it, but it has a little bit of an edge to it that matches what Tretch says. And then as the song progresses, you get some of the changes, and he brings in the different music and the chain, you know, things drop in and out, and piano and different things. And I thought that really added a little bit more of that heartfelt layer to the song, rather than just having it as straight loops and stuff, because as Tretch is getting very personal, things change as the song progresses, which I always think when done well, as KG does brilliantly here, I think that adds a lot of layers to and potency to songs like Ghetto Bastard, because it really shows, when rap is done at this type of level, not only is it very important lyrically, conceptually, and thematically, but sonically it brings a lot to the table, even when it's built off of samples. So all those things are amazing. And then I also think just 1991 is an interesting year in rap, and with Ghetto Bastard being the original name of the song, by the time they release it as a single, it turns into the title of Everything Is Gonna Be Alright. So we're seeing, because Naughty by Nature, this album obviously went on to sell more than 1 million copies, but as rap was progressing and getting more and more popular, people started understanding, in order to make it fit into this limited space that rap was in at the time, okay, we'll change the song title. We're not changing the lyrics, we're not changing the song, we're just changing the title, so that if somebody looked at it, maybe they would buy that for the kid and they wouldn't have bought him Ghetto Bastard. Or maybe somebody at a radio station would play Everything's Gonna Be Alright when they wouldn't have played Ghetto Bastard, even though it's the exact same song. So I think this is where we see this 1991, the explosion of rap we're about to have, and having all these censorship battles, and it just shows that Naughty by Nature, Tommy Boy, whoever decided initially to do it, I think it was a great idea, and it ended up working out well, because this album sold extremely well, and in my opinion and Amir's, Ghetto Bastard / Everything's Gonna Be Alright is one of the best songs on there. So yeah, so those are my 3 picks. You guys got Amir's. As always, hit us up in that comment section, let us know what you guys think. I'm Soren Baker.
Amir Rahimi.
Naughty by Nature, man. Thanks for this one. It's a great piece.
Be sure to check out the History of Gangster Rap by Soren Baker. He's official.
History of Gangster Rap features exclusive interviews with Ice-T, Snoop Dogg, MC Ren, the D.O.C, and dozens of others. The History of Gangster Rap, a definitive look at how Los Angeles changed rap forever.
In Los Angeles, the streets definitely set the tone of the hip-hop music.
At 19, I got a $50,000 car.
My whole angle always was, I'll be street, but I will always tell you the horrors that go along with this life.
There will be penalties and casualties for just wearing the wrong color in somebody's neighborhood.
And once gangster rap made it from the streets to the TV, the genre exploded.
What's that 5 on your MTV back with NWA?
Yo MTV, it just catapulted us from being local heroes to national gangbang rappers.
The History of Gangster Rap discusses it all from 1980 up till today.
It's always gonna be shit happening in the street. You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be something to talk about.
The History of Gangster Rap in stores now.